September 2nd, 1943. Tunnel B, Kohnstein Mountain, Central Germany. Temperature 10 degrees Celsius. Humidity 95%. The air smells like diesel fuel, human waste, and death. Józef Czaganek does not know he has 47 days left to live. He is 32 years old. Before the war, he was a mathematics teacher in Krakow, Poland. He taught geometry to 14-year-olds. He had a wife named Maria. They were trying to have a child. That life ended on October 15, 1941, when the Gestapo arrested him for possessing underground newspapers. He spent 2 years in Buchenwald concentration camp. This morning, the SS loaded him and 106 other prisoners onto a truck. They told them nothing. After 4 hours, they arrived here. The guards shoved them into a tunnel carved into solid rock. The tunnel is 300 feet wide, 30 feet high, and over a mile long. There are no windows, no fresh air. The only light comes from bare electric bulbs strung along the ceiling. The tunnel is filled with rail tracks, wooden scaffolding, and machines Józef does not recognize. An SS guard screams at them in German. Work begins now. 12-hour shifts, no breaks. Move the machines, lay the cables, expand the tunnels. Anyone who stops working will be shot. Józef picks up a sledgehammer. It weighs 12 pounds. His arms are thin. He has not eaten a full meal in 2 years. The first swing sends pain through his shoulders. He swings again and again. Around him, other prisoners swing hammers, push carts, drag steel beams across wet stone. The noise is constant, metal on rock, shouting, coughing. After 2 hours, Józef's hands are bleeding. The blisters have torn open. He keeps swinging. After 6 hours, he cannot feel his arms. After 10 hours, the man next to him collapses. The guard walks over. He does not check if the man is alive. He shoots him once in the head. The body is dragged to the side of the tunnel. Work continues. At the same moment, 300 miles north, Werner von Braun sits in a sunlit office at Peenemünde Army Research Center on the Baltic coast. He is 31 years old. He is drinking real coffee, not the ersatz acorn mixture most Germans drink in 1943. On his desk is a telegram from Berlin. Albert Speer, Minister of Armaments and War Production, has approved the expansion of the underground factory. Production target, 900 V-2 rockets per month by December 1943. Von Braun smiles. This is good news. The V-2 program was nearly cancelled after the British bombing raid 2 weeks ago. 735 people died in that raid. The facility was heavily damaged. But now, with the underground factory, production will be safe from Allied bombers. The rockets will be unstoppable. Von Braun does not think about the men digging the tunnels. He does not ask how the labor is sourced. He knows, of course. Everyone knows. But he does not think about it. He thinks about trajectories, fuel mixtures, guidance systems. He thinks about the future. The contrast is absolute. At the exact hour Józef Czaganek swings a sledgehammer in the dark, Werner von Braun reviews blueprints in the light. One man is destroying his body to build a weapon. The other man is building his career on that destruction. Neither will meet. But their fates are connected by a single machine, the V-2 rocket, the vengeance weapon too. Here is the central fact that no one discusses. More people will die building the V-2 than will die from V-2 attacks. The final numbers will be clear only after the war ends. Approximately 20,000 slave laborers will die producing the rocket. The rocket will kill approximately 7,000 to 9,000 civilians. In London, 2,654 people will die from V-2 strikes. In Antwerp, Belgium, 3,515 will die. The weapon will fail in its purpose. It will not stop the Allied advance. It will not restore German victory. It will only create suffering. But the suffering of the builders will be greater than the suffering of the victims. And the world will remember the victims. The world will forget the builders. Werner Magnus Maximilian Freiherr von Braun was born into aristocracy on March 23, 1912, in Virsitz, Prussia. His father was a baron and a government minister. His mother was the daughter of a Prussian general. At age 13, his mother gave him a telescope. He looked at the moon and decided his future. He would build rockets. He would reach space. By age 20, he was conducting rocket experiments for the German army. By 25, he was technical director of the Army's rocket development program at Peenemünde. He was brilliant. Everyone agreed. But brilliance requires funding. Funding requires political alignment. On November 12, 1937, von Braun applied for membership in the Nazi Party. He later claimed he had no choice. That refusing would have ended his work. These are half-truths. In 1940, Reichsfuhrer SS Heinrich Himmler personally invited von Braun to join the SS. Von Braun accepted. He was given the rank of Untersturmführer, equivalent to second lieutenant. His SS membership number was 185,068. By 1943, he was promoted to Hauptsturmführer, equivalent to captain. He wore the black SS uniform. He attended SS ceremonies. Photographs exist showing him in full SS regalia. Later, after the war, he will say he was forced to join, that it was a formality, that he attended no meetings. These are lies. The SS was not a social club. The SS ran the concentration camps. The SS conducted the mass executions. The SS implemented the final solution. Von Braun joined because rockets required resources. Resources required political power. Morality was negotiable. Rockets were not. October 10th, 1943. Tunnel B, Mittelwerk. Josef Chiganek has been working underground for 38 days. He has not seen sunlight in 38 days. He sleeps on the tunnel floor with 1,500 other prisoners. There are no beds, no blankets. The stone is cold and wet. There is no running water. The prisoners urinate and defecate into wooden barrels placed along the tunnel walls. The barrels overflow. The floor is slick with human waste. The smell is suffocating. Men cough constantly. Their lungs are filling with rock dust from the drilling. Josef coughs blood into his hand every morning. His teeth are loose. His gums bleed. He has dysentery. Many men have dysentery. There is no medicine. There is no doctor. Men die every day. Some from exhaustion. Some from disease. Some are beaten to death by guards for working too slowly. The bodies are stacked in a side tunnel. Every few days, a truck takes them away. In the same month, von Braun visits the underground factory. He is there to inspect progress. He walks through Tunnel A with Arthur Rudolph, the production operations director. Rudolph is explaining the production schedule. Von Braun nods. He asks technical questions. How many rockets per day? What is the bottleneck? Can we accelerate assembly? He sees the prisoners. They are skeletal. Their uniforms are filthy. Some are barefoot. They move slowly like old men, though many are young. Von Braun does not speak to them. He does not ask about their conditions. Later, people will ask if he knew. The answer is yes. He knew. Everyone knew. The evidence was in front of him. He chose not to see it. Arthur Louis Hugo Rudolph was born on November 9, 1906, in Stepfershausen, Germany. He studied mechanical engineering. He loved machines. He joined the Nazi Party in 1934, early enough to be considered a committed member. In 1943, when V2 production moved underground, Rudolph moved with it. He became operations director of Mittelwerk GmbH, the state-owned company managing the factory. He was responsible for production quotas. He worked directly with the SS to requisition labor. When productivity fell, he requested more prisoners. Documents survive proving this. On April 12, 1943, Rudolph wrote a memo recommending the use of concentration camp labor for rocket production. He had visited an aircraft factory using camp labor and was impressed by the efficiency. Rudolph attended at least one hanging, probably more. He admitted this during interrogations decades later. The hangings occurred in Tunnel 41, the main assembly hall. The SS used the large overhead cranes to hoist prisoners by their necks. The men died slowly. Strangulation, not a broken neck. It took minutes. The entire shift of workers, sometimes 2,000 men, was forced to watch. This was the penalty for suspected sabotage. 6 to 12 prisoners were hanged at a time. Rudolph said he did not stay for the entire execution. He said he left partway through. He said the men were probably Russians. He said he was under pressure to meet production deadlines. He said he never saw a prisoner starve to death. He said he never saw prisoners beaten. These statements are contradicted by multiple survivor testimonies. Rudolph lied, or he convinced himself he did not see what was in front of him. Either way, the rockets were produced, and men died producing them. November 14th, 1943. Józef Zyganek dies. He collapses during his shift. His heart stops. He is 32 years old. He has been at Mittelbau Dora for 74 days. His body is dragged to the side of the tunnel. Another prisoner takes his sledgehammer and continues working. Józef's wife, Maria, is still alive in Krakow. She does not know he is dead. She will not know for 2 more years. She will spend the rest of her life wondering if he thought of her at the end. The SS records list Józef as prisoner number 9347. Cause of death, heart failure. This is technically true. His heart failed because he was starved, worked to exhaustion, and denied medical care. But the record does not say that. The record says heart failure, just another number. By the end of the war, approximately 60,000 prisoners will pass through Mittelbau Dora and its subcamps. Around 20,000 will die. The death rate between October 1943 and March 1944 is the highest of any concentration camp in the Nazi system. 1 in 3 prisoners dies, some from disease, some from starvation, some from beatings, some from executions, some simply stop breathing during their shifts. Their bodies are carted away. New prisoners arrive. Production continues. Between 1943 and 1945, the factory produces 5,200 V-2 rockets. Each rocket represents an average of 4 deaths. This is the efficiency Arthur Rudolph was so proud of. The first V-2 rocket strikes London on September 8, 1944. The target is Chiswick, a residential area in West London. The rocket hits at 6:43 p.m. There is no warning, no air raid siren, no time to take shelter. The explosion creates a crater 30 feet wide and 8 feet deep. 3 people die instantly. Ada Harrison, age 63, sapper Bernard Browning, age 33, 3-year-old Rosemary Clark. 17 others are injured. Buildings collapse, gas mains rupture, fires start. The British government does not immediately announce what happened. They call it a gas explosion. They do not want to cause panic. They do not want the Germans to know the weapon works. But the Germans already know. The attacks continue. Over the next 7 months, 1,115 V-2 rockets are launched at England. Approximately 517 hit London. The rest miss, malfunction, or explode in flight. Each impact is random. The guidance system is too primitive for precision. The rocket can miss its target by 10 miles. But it does not matter. The targets are cities. You cannot miss a city. The rocket descends at 2,200 miles per hour. Victims hear the explosion first. Then, seconds later, the sound of the rocket arriving. By the time you hear it, you are already dead or alive. Antwerp, Belgium, suffers more V-2 attacks than any other city. Between October 1944 and March 1945, 590 rockets strike the city. Antwerp is a critical supply port for the Allied advance. The Germans want to destroy it. On December 16, 1944, a V-2 strikes the Rex Cinema during an afternoon showing. The building is packed with soldiers and civilians watching a film. The rocket penetrates the roof and explodes inside. The entire structure collapses. 567 people die. 296 are Allied soldiers. The rest are Belgian civilians. It is the single deadliest V-2 impact of the war. Rescue teams work for 3 days to recover bodies. Many victims are never identified. They are buried in mass graves. But the attacks do not achieve their purpose. The port continues operating. The Allied advance continues. The war is already lost. Germany is collapsing. The V-2 is too late, too inaccurate, and too expensive. Each rocket costs 100,000 Reichsmarks. That is enough to build 3 fighter planes. The fighter planes can be reused. The rocket cannot. The V-2 is a weapon of terror, not strategy. It kills. It destroys. But it does not change the outcome. April 1945. The Americans are advancing from the west. The Soviets are advancing from the east. Germany is finished. Wernher von Braun and Arthur Rudolph know this. They have a decision to make. Surrender to the Soviets or surrender to the Americans. The Soviets will send them to labor camps, or execute them as war criminals. The Americans might do the same, or they might see value. Von Braun gathers his top engineers, over 400 of them. They take all the documents, all the blueprints, All the test data, 14 tons of paper. They hide it in an abandoned iron mine in the Harz Mountains. Then they flee south toward the American lines. They avoid the Soviets deliberately. On May the 2nd, 1945, von Braun's younger brother Magnus approaches an American private from the 44th Infantry Division near Reutte, Austria. Magnus speaks fluent English. He says his brother designed the V-2 rocket. He says they want to surrender. The private thinks he is lying. Magnus insists. The private takes him to his lieutenant. The lieutenant calls intelligence. Within hours, American officers arrive. They realize what they have. The men who built the most advanced missile in the world are offering themselves freely. The Americans accept immediately. On May 3, 1945, Wernher von Braun and 126 of his top engineers formally surrender. Von Braun has a cast on his left arm from a car accident. He smiles for photographs. He is polite and cooperative. He tells the Americans he can build better rockets. Rockets that reach space. Rockets that can strike any target on Earth. The Americans are very interested. The war with Japan is not over. And beyond Japan, there is the Soviet Union. A new war is beginning. A Cold War. Rockets will matter in that war. Von Braun knows this. Arthur Rudolph knows this. They are positioning themselves as indispensable. They are offering their skills in exchange for their freedom. The Americans are listening. December 3, 1946. Displaced Persons Camp, Fürstenwald, Bavaria, American Occupation Zone. Leah Rosenfeld sits on a wooden cot in Barrack 14. She is 34 years old. She weighs 89 pounds. The room is 15 feet by 20 feet. She shares it with 7 other women. There is one window with cracked glass. The temperature inside is 8 degrees Celsius. Outside, it is snowing. She is wearing 2 dresses, both donated by the American Jewish Joint Distribution Committee. Neither fits properly. She has been in this camp for 18 months. Before this, she was in Auschwitz. Her husband was murdered there in October 1942. Her 2 children, Rachel and David, were murdered there in the same month. Rachel was 7. David was 4. Leah survived because she was selected for labor. She worked in the camp laundry for 2 years. In January 1945, she was forced on a death march. She survived. In May 1945, she was liberated by American troops. She has been waiting ever since. At the same moment, 4,800 miles west, Wernher von Braun sits in the dining hall at Fort Bliss, Texas. He is eating breakfast: scrambled eggs, bacon, toast with butter, real coffee. He is 34 years old. He weighs 170 pounds. The dining hall is heated. Outside, the temperature is 16 degrees Celsius. It is sunny. Von Braun is reading a newspaper, the El Paso Herald-Post. The headline is about rising tensions with the Soviet Union. Von Braun is interested in this. It means his work matters. It means his position is secure. It means America needs him. After breakfast, he will go to White Sands Proving Ground to supervise the assembly of a captured V-2 rocket. This rocket will be the 4th launched by the American team. The previous 3 were successful. Von Braun is pleased. The Americans are learning quickly. He finishes his coffee. He folds the newspaper. He does not think about Leah Rosenfeld. He does not know she exists. But their lives are connected by the same government. One is welcomed. The other is rejected. One is paid. The other waits. One is safe. The other is trapped. September 20th, 1945. Fort Strong, Boston Harbor, Massachusetts. It is raining. 16 German scientists stand on the deck of a U.S. Army transport ship. They are dressed in civilian suits provided by the Army. The suits are wool. They are new. They do not fit perfectly, but they are warm. The men are thin. They are also relieved. They are in America. They are not in Soviet hands. They are not standing trial. They are not in prison. They are free, or something close to free. The ship docks. U.S. Army officers escort the Germans through customs. There are no journalists, no photographers, no public announcement. This is classified. The operation is called Overcast. Later, it will be renamed Paperclip. The name comes from a simple method. A paperclip is attached to the security files of Germans cleared for entry. The paperclip indicates approval. It covers the original assessment. Sometimes literally. A new sheet is clipped over the old one. The old assessment lists Nazi Party memberships, SS ranks, war crimes allegations. The new assessment lists scientific qualifications, technical expertise, value to national security. The paperclip hides the past. It prioritizes the future. The Germans are taken to Fort Strong for processing. They are fingerprinted, photographed, interviewed. The interviews are polite. The questions focus on science, rocket propulsion, guidance systems, fuel chemistry. No one asks about Mittelbau-Dora. No one asks about Peenemünde. No one asks about the 20,000 dead. The Germans do not volunteer this information. They answer the questions they are asked. They smile. They cooperate. They are escorted to barracks. The barracks have beds, blankets, running water, heat. That night, they eat a hot meal. Meat, potatoes, vegetables, bread. Some of them cry, not from guilt, from relief. October 1945, Washington, D.C. A memorandum circulates within the Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency. The agency manages Operation Paperclip. The memo is 3 pages long. It is typed. It is stamped secret. The subject line reads, "Problem of ardent Nazi advocates among German scientists." The memo is direct. It states that many of the captured German scientists have Nazi Party memberships. Some have SS ranks. Some supervised slave labor. Some may be implicated in war crimes. Under current U.S. immigration law, these men cannot legally enter the United States. They are inadmissible aliens. They are potentially subject to prosecution. The memo requests guidance. The response comes from the State War Navy Coordinating Committee. The response is unambiguous. The German scientists are valuable. Their knowledge is essential to national security. The Soviet Union is recruiting German scientists. America cannot fall behind. The law will be managed. The files will be revised. Unfavorable information will be removed or rewritten. The Germans will be presented as men who joined the Nazi Party under duress, as apolitical scientists, as victims of totalitarianism. The revisions will not be optional. They will be mandatory. The security of the nation depends on it. Wernher von Braun's original security assessment is written in May 1945 by U.S. Army intelligence. It is thorough. It notes his membership in the Nazi Party since 1937, membership number 5,638,692. It notes his membership in the SS since 1940, membership number 185,068. It notes his rank, Sturmbannführer, equivalent to major. It notes his attendance at SS ceremonies. It notes his visits to Mittelbau-Dora. It notes survivor testimony that he witnessed the conditions in the tunnels. It concludes that von Braun is a security risk. It recommends extensive vetting before any consideration of entry to the United States. By June 1946, a new assessment is written. This version is different. It states that von Braun joined the Nazi Party because membership was required for his position at Peenemünde. It states that he joined the SS under direct pressure from Reichsfuhrer Heinrich Himmler. It states that he was apolitical, that his sole interest was scientific research, that he had no knowledge of and no involvement in the use of slave labor, that he was, in essence, a victim of the Nazi regime. This new assessment is approved. Von Braun is cleared for entry. The original assessment is not destroyed. It is reclassified. It is buried. It will remain buried for 38 years. Arthur Rudolph's file undergoes the same transformation. The original report is damning. It identifies him as Production Operations Director at Mittelwerk. It states that he worked directly with SS officers to requisition slave labor. It includes testimony from survivors who describe him watching a hanging in Tunnel 41. It includes a memo written by Rudolph in April 1943 recommending the use of concentration camp prisoners for rocket production. The report concludes that Rudolph is complicit in crimes against humanity. It recommends that he be denied entry to the United States and possibly tried for war crimes. The revised report is sanitized. It describes Rudolph as a mid-level engineer with no authority over labor policies. It states that he followed orders, that he had no choice, that he was not a member of the SS. This last part is technically true. Rudolph was a Nazi Party member, not SS. The distinction is irrelevant to the dead. The revised report is approved. Rudolph is cleared. He arrives at Fort Bliss in December 1946. He will work on American rocket programs for the next 38 years. He will never be prosecuted. He will die a free man. June 1946. American Consulate, Munich, Germany. Leah Rosenfeld waits in a wooden chair. She has been waiting for 3 hours. Her appointment was at 10 a.m. It is now 1 p.m. The consular office is cold. Leah is shivering. She is wearing her best dress. It is the only dress she owns that is not torn. Her sister in New York sent money for the visa application fee. Leah filled out the forms. She provided an affidavit of support from her sister. She provided health records from the camp physician. She provided a letter from the American Jewish Joint Distribution Committee confirming her identity. She has done everything required. She is hopeful. She wants to believe this will work. She wants to see her sister again. She has not seen her since 1938. A clerk calls her name. She enters a small office. A consular officer sits behind a desk. He is American. He is in his 40s. He does not smile. He reviews her file. He asks for additional documents: a police certificate from her hometown in Poland, a birth certificate, employment records. Leah explains that her hometown no longer exists. It was destroyed during the war. The buildings are rubble. The records are gone. The consular officer looks up. He says he understands, but the law requires documentation. Without a police certificate, the application cannot proceed. He suggests she write to the Polish authorities. Leah says she already did. They responded that no records exist. The consular officer shrugs. He says there is nothing he can do. The application is denied. Insufficient documentation. Leah does not cry. She does not argue. She stands. She takes her papers. She walks out of the consulate. Outside, it is raining. She walks back to Fürstenwald. It takes 2 hours. She is soaked. That night she writes a letter to her sister. She says the visa was denied. She says she will try again. She does not say she has no hope, but she feels it. 3 years later, in 1949, Leah is still in Fürstenwald. She applies for a visa again, this time to Palestine, under the British mandate immigration quotas. She is approved. She boards a ship in Marseille. She arrives in Haifa in May 1948, just as the State of Israel is declared. She settles in Tel Aviv. She works as a seamstress. She never marries again. She never has more children. She dies in 1973 at age 61. She never saw her sister in New York. She spent 7 years waiting for a visa to America that never came, while Wernher von Braun became a citizen in 5 years. March 9, 1955. ABC Television Studios, Burbank, California. Wernher von Braun stands in front of a camera. He is wearing a dark suit and tie. His hair is neatly combed. He is smiling. He is 43 years old. He is about to appear on national television. The show is Disneyland, hosted by Walt Disney. The episode is called Man in Space. Disney introduces von Braun as one of the foremost experts on rocketry in the world. The studio audience applauds. Von Braun steps forward. For the next 18 minutes, he explains how America will go to space. He uses animated diagrams. He describes multi-stage rockets. He describes orbital mechanics. He describes a space station. He is charming. He is confident. He speaks with a slight German accent. Some viewers find it reassuring. He sounds like a scientist. He sounds like the future. 42 million Americans watch this broadcast. It is one of the most watched television programs of the year. After the show airs, von Braun receives fan mail, hundreds of letters. People thank him. They tell him they are inspired. They tell him they trust him. No one asks about his past. No one mentions Mittelbau-Dora. No one mentions the SS. Walt Disney certainly does not ask. Disney is focused on Tomorrowland, on optimism, on the American dream. Von Braun embodies all of this. He is selling a vision of the future. The past is irrelevant. At the exact moment von Braun is on television, Leah Rosenfeld is in Tel Aviv. She is sitting in her small apartment. She does not have a television. She does not know who Wernher von Braun is. She would not recognize his name. But if she did, she might ask a question. She might ask why the man who built the rockets that required the death of 20,000 people is celebrated, while she who survived the camps was turned away. She might ask why his past was erased, while hers is permanent. She might ask why he is free, while she is still trapped by memory. But no one asks Leah these questions. No one asks her anything. She is not famous. She is not on television. She is a survivor. And survivors, in 1955, are expected to be silent. By 1969, Wernher von Braun is the director of NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. He is the chief architect of the Saturn V rocket. On July 16, 1969, the Saturn V launches Apollo 11. 3 astronauts go to the moon. On July 20th, Neil Armstrong steps onto the lunar surface. The entire world watches. Von Braun is there, at Mission Control in Houston. He is celebrating. Cameras capture his face. He is crying. He is overcome with emotion. He has achieved his dream. Man has reached the moon. His rockets made it possible. Arthur Rudolph is also there. He is the program manager of the Saturn V. He receives the NASA Distinguished Service Medal. The citation praises his extraordinary leadership, his dedication, his contribution to the success of the Apollo program. No one mentions that he supervised the deaths of thousands of slaves. No one mentions the hangings. No one asks. The medal is presented by a NASA administrator. Rudolph smiles. He shakes hands. He thanks everyone. He retires the following year. He receives a full pension. He settles in San Jose, California. He lives comfortably. Leah Rosenfeld does not see the moon landing. She has no television. She hears about it on the radio. She does not feel inspired. She feels tired. July 1st, 1946. USS Everglades, 15 miles from Bikini Atoll, Marshall Islands. Seaman First Class Donald Coe stands on the deck. He is 22 years old. He is from Terre Haute, Indiana. Before the war, he worked at his father's hardware store. He joined the Navy in 1944. He served on a destroyer in the Pacific. He saw combat. He survived. Now the war is over, and he is here, at Bikini Atoll, for Operation Crossroads. He is told this is important. A test. A demonstration. The atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima last August killed 80,000 people. The one dropped on Nagasaki killed 40,000. Those bombs ended the war. Now the Navy wants to see what an atomic bomb does to ships. They have assembled 95 vessels in the lagoon, old battleships, aircraft carriers, destroyers, submarines. Some are American. Some are captured Japanese and German ships. All of them are unmanned. They are target ships. The bomb will drop at 9 a.m. Donald and 42,000 other military personnel are here to watch. They have been told it is safe. They are 15 miles away. They have been given protective goggles, welder's goggles with dark glass. They are told to turn away from the blast and cover their eyes. They are told there is nothing to worry about. The radiation will dissipate quickly. The Navy says so. The scientists say so. Donald believes them. At 9:01 a.m., a B-29 bomber drops the bomb. It is codenamed Gilda. It detonates 518 feet above the lagoon. The flash is instant. Even with his back turned and his eyes covered, Donald sees it. A white light that burns through his eyelids. Then heat. A wave of heat that feels like opening an oven door. Then sound. A crack so loud it makes his chest vibrate. He turns around. The cloud is rising. It is massive. It is shaped like a mushroom. It climbs 40,000 feet into the sky. It is white. Then it turns gray. Then brown. The ships in the lagoon are obscured by steam and smoke. Donald cannot see them. He waits. After several minutes, the cloud clears. Most of the ships are still floating. 5 are sinking. One, the USS Anderson, is gone completely. Vaporized. The test is declared a success. The Navy is pleased. The bomb works. The ships are damaged, but not all destroyed. The fleet is resilient. Donald is excited. He has just witnessed history. He does not feel sick. He feels fine. He is 22 years old. He feels invincible. 3 weeks later, on July 24, 1946, Donald Coe is still at Bikini Atoll. The second test is scheduled for today. This one is different. The bomb will not drop from the sky. It will detonate underwater. The bomb is suspended 90 feet below the surface of the lagoon. It is codenamed Baker. Donald and the other sailors are told to take the same precautions. Goggles. Turn away. Cover your eyes. The detonation is set for 8:35 a.m. local time. At exactly 8:34:59 a.m., the bomb explodes. Donald sees the flash. But this time, something else happens. A column of water erupts from the lagoon. It is not a spray. It is a solid column. A pillar of water over 6,000 feet tall and 2,000 feet wide. It is white. It is boiling. It rises in slow motion. At the top, it spreads out like a flower. Then it collapses. The water falls back into the lagoon. A massive wave spreads outward. Ships are tossed like toys. Some capsize. Others are lifted and then dropped. The entire lagoon is churning. The cloud rises again, but this time it is different. It is not just steam. It is spray. It is seawater. It is radioactive seawater. The wind carries it. It drifts over the target fleet. It drifts over the support ships. It drifts over the USS Everglades. Donald feels it. Drops of water on his face, on his arms, on his uniform. It is warm. It tastes salty. He wipes it off. He does not think about it. He is watching the ships. 8 of them are sinking. The rest are floating, but they are covered in water. Everything is wet. Everything is dripping. The lagoon is boiling. The test is over. The Navy declares it another success. Donald goes below deck. He washes his face. He changes his uniform. He feels fine. 3 days later, on July 27th, Donald Coe is assigned to a decontamination crew. The target ships need to be inspected. Some need to be salvaged. The Navy wants to see how much damage the bomb caused. Donald and 50 other sailors are taken by boat to the USS Saratoga, an aircraft carrier that survived the blast. The ship is tilted but still floating. They board the ship. It is wet. Everything is wet. The decks, the walls, the equipment. Water is dripping from the ceiling. The air smells strange, like metal and chemicals. Donald is given a bucket and a scrub brush. He is told to wash the deck. He asks if it is safe. The officer in charge says yes. The ship has been checked. The radiation levels are acceptable. Donald believes him. He starts scrubbing. He scrubs for 6 hours. His hands are in the water. His uniform is soaked. He is sweating. At the end of the shift, he is exhausted. He returns to the USS Everglades. He showers. He eats dinner. He goes to sleep. He feels fine. 1 week later, Donald Coe is still working on the decontamination cruise. Every day, he boards a different target ship. Every day, he scrubs, he washes, he moves equipment. Some days, he works in the engine rooms. The water there is deeper. It comes up to his knees. He wades through it. Some days, he works on the decks. The metal is hot from the sun. His skin burns. He drinks water from the ship's supply. The water tastes strange, but he is thirsty. At night, he sleeps below deck on the USS Everglades. He is tired. He is always tired. Some of the other sailors are complaining. They have headaches, nausea. Some are vomiting. The medics say it is seasickness, fatigue, stress. Nothing serious. Donald has not vomited, but he has diarrhea. It has lasted 3 days. He goes to the medic. The medic gives him pills. The medic does not ask about radiation exposure. Donald does not mention it. He does not think about it. He feels fine, or fine enough. By August 10th, 1946, the decontamination program is halted. Colonel Stafford Warren, the Chief Radiological Safety Officer for Operation Crossroads, has been warning the Navy for 2 weeks. The ships are too contaminated. The decontamination methods are not working. Sailors are being exposed to dangerous levels of radiation. Protective equipment is insufficient. Many sailors are working without gloves, without masks, without dosimeters to measure their exposure. Warren writes a memo to Admiral William Blandy, the commander of the task force. The memo is urgent. It states that the ships are extensively contaminated with dangerous amounts of radioactivity. It states that quick decontamination is not possible without exposing personnel seriously to radiation. It recommends suspending all decontamination work immediately. Blandy reads the memo. He suspends the program. The third test, codenamed Charlie, is canceled. The target fleet is abandoned. The sailors are sent home. Donald Coe returns to Terre Haute, Indiana, in September 1946. He is discharged from the Navy with an honorable discharge. He returns to work at his father's hardware store. He marries his high school sweetheart, Betty, in November 1946. They have 2 children, a son, Michael, born in 1948, a daughter, Susan, born in 1950. Donald is a good father, a good husband. He works hard. He does not talk much about the war. He does not talk much about Bikini Atoll. When people ask, he says it was interesting. He says he saw an atomic bomb. He says it was the future. He does not mention the scrubbing, the water, the exhaustion. He does not think about it. He feels fine. In 1953, Donald Coe starts losing weight. He is eating normally, but he is getting thinner. He is always tired. He has night sweats. Betty notices. She tells him to see a doctor. He goes to the Veterans Administration Hospital in Indianapolis. The doctor examines him, orders blood tests. 2 weeks later, the results come back. Donald has leukemia, acute myeloid leukemia. The doctor says it is treatable but serious. Donald asks what caused it. The doctor does not know. He asks about family history. Donald's family has no history of cancer. He asks about chemical exposure. Donald worked in a hardware store. He was exposed to paints, solvents, nothing unusual. He asks about radiation. Donald mentions Bikini Atoll. The doctor pauses. He asks for details. Donald explains. The bombs, the target ships, the decontamination work, the water, the scrubbing. The doctor writes this down. He says he will look into it. He does not commit to anything. He does not say the Navy is responsible. He cannot. There is no official policy, no documentation, no recognition. Donald Coe undergoes treatment, chemotherapy, radiation therapy. It is 1953. The treatments are primitive, painful. He loses his hair. He loses more weight. He is weak. He can no longer work. Betty takes a job at a local diner to support the family. Michael is 5 years old. Susan is 3. They do not understand why their father is sick. Donald tries to stay positive. He tells them he will get better. He believes it. Or he wants to. On March 14, 1957, Donald Coe dies. He is 33 years old. The cause of death is listed as leukemia. No mention is made of radiation exposure. No mention is made of Operation Crossroads. Betty applies for benefits from the Veterans Administration. She submits Donald's medical records. She submits a statement describing his work at Bikini Atoll. She submits affidavits from other sailors who were there. The VA reviews the application. 6 months later, they deny it. The decision letter states that there is insufficient evidence to connect Donald's leukemia to his military service. It states that radiation exposure at Operation Crossroads was minimal and within safe limits. It states that leukemia can occur spontaneously. The letter is 2 paragraphs long. It is polite. It is final. Betty does not appeal. She cannot afford a lawyer. She works 2 jobs. She raises Michael and Susan alone. She never remarries. She dies in 1989 at age 64. She never forgave the government. Donald Coe is not alone. Between 1946 and 1962, over 400,000 American military personnel participate in nuclear weapons tests. Operation Crossroads, Operation Sandstone, Operation Greenhouse, Operation Buster Jangle, Operation Tumbler Snapper, Operation Upshot Knothole, Operation Castle, Operation Teapot, Operation Wigwam, Operation Red Wing, Operation Plum Bob, Operation Hardtack, Operation Argus, Operation Dominic. The tests occur in the Pacific, in Nevada, in the Atlantic. The servicemen are told the same thing every time. It is safe. The radiation is minimal. There is nothing to worry about. They believe it. They participate. They watch. They stand in trenches 2 miles from ground zero. They board contaminated ships. They walk through fallout zones. They breathe radioactive dust. They drink contaminated water. They are not given dosimeters. They are not told the risks. They are not informed that radiation causes cancer, that it causes leukemia, that it causes birth defects, that it accumulates in the body, that it stays there forever. By the 1970s, patterns emerge. Veterans of nuclear tests are dying. Not all of them, but more than expected. Leukemia, lung cancer, thyroid cancer, bone cancer. The rates are significantly higher than the general population. Studies are conducted. The results are published. The conclusions are clear. Radiation exposure from nuclear tests caused excess cancers. The government does not acknowledge this. The Veterans Administration continues to deny claims. The official position is that the tests were safe, that the radiation doses were within acceptable limits, that there is no proof of causation. This position is maintained for 40 years. In 1988, Congress passes the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act. It acknowledges that some nuclear test veterans were exposed to harmful levels of radiation. It provides compensation to eligible veterans or their survivors. The eligibility requirements are strict. The veteran must have participated in specific tests, must have developed specific cancers, must provide documentation. Many veterans cannot prove their exposure. Their records were lost. Their units were not tracked. Their dosimeters, if they had them, were never analyzed. The VA estimates that between 1946 and 1962, approximately 210,000 servicemen participated in atmospheric nuclear tests. Of those, tens of thousands developed radiation-related cancers. By 1988, most of them are already dead. Betty Coe applies for compensation in 1989. She submits Donald's discharge papers. She submits his death certificate. She submits testimony from other Bikini veterans. She is approved. She receives $50,000. She uses it to pay off debts. She dies 3 months later. She never spent $1 of it on herself. Michael Coe, Donald's son, is now 77 years old. He lives in Terre Haute. He never met his father. Donald died when Michael was 9. Michael has thyroid cancer. He has had 3 surgeries. He believes it is connected to his father's radiation exposure. Studies have shown that radiation can affect the children of exposed veterans. Genetic damage. Inherited mutations. Michael applied for compensation under the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act. He was denied. The law does not cover children of veterans, only the veterans themselves, or their widows. Michael appealed. The appeal was denied. He cannot prove causation. He cannot prove his cancer came from his father's exposure. The burden of proof is on him. He cannot meet it. He stopped trying. He is tired. February 28, 1954, 11:45 p.m. Rongelap Atoll, Marshall Islands. Magistrate John Anjane is lying on a woven mat on the floor of his house. He is 35 years old. He is the elected leader of Rongelap. There are 64 people living on the atoll, mostly families, fishermen, children. The night is warm. The stars are bright. John cannot sleep. He is thinking about the American ships he saw yesterday. 3 warships anchored near the horizon. They have been there for a week. No one has explained why. The Americans tested atomic bombs here 8 years ago, in 1946. Then they left. Now they are back. John is worried. But the Americans have not told the islanders to leave, so they stay. At the same moment, 90 miles west, on Bikini Atoll, U.S. military personnel are preparing for Castle Bravo. It is the most powerful nuclear device America has ever built, a hydrogen bomb. The scientists predict a yield of 6 megatons. This is 400 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The test is scheduled for 6:45 a.m. local time. The evacuation zone has been calculated. Ships and observation posts are positioned at safe distances. Weather forecasts have been reviewed. The winds are predicted to blow northeast, away from inhabited atolls. The test is cleared to proceed. What no one knows is that the scientists made a mistake, a fundamental error in physics. The bomb will not yield 6 megatons. It will yield 15 megatons, 2.5 times more powerful than predicted. And the winds will not blow northeast. They will shift. They will blow east, directly toward Rongelap. March 1st, 1954, 6:45 a.m. The bomb detonates. John Anjan is awake. He is outside his house. The sun has not risen yet. Then, Suddenly, there is light. Not from the east, where the sun should rise. From the west, a light so bright it looks like a second sun. The entire western horizon is glowing white, then orange, then red. John has never seen anything like it. He stares. He does not understand what he is looking at. He does not know that 90 miles away, a fireball 3 miles wide is expanding over Bikini Atoll, that the surface temperature of that fireball is 300 million degrees Fahrenheit, that a mushroom cloud is climbing into the stratosphere, that radioactive coral dust, pulverized by the explosion, is being sucked into the cloud, that the cloud is now 130,000 feet high, that the winds have shifted, that the cloud is moving toward him. 2 minutes after the detonation, John hears the sound. It is not a single boom. It is a long, rolling thunder that shakes the ground. The trees sway. The lagoon ripples. Children wake up crying. People come out of their houses. They see the light in the west. They see the cloud. It is massive. It is gray and white and brown. It looks like a mountain in the sky. John tells everyone to stay calm. He does not know what else to say. They watch. The cloud continues to grow. It spreads across the horizon like a curtain. Then it starts to drift toward them. 4 hours later, at 10:52 a.m., white powder begins falling from the sky. It looks like snow. The children have never seen snow. They are excited. They run outside. They catch it on their tongues. They rub it on their skin. It feels gritty, like sand. It has no smell, no taste. It coats everything, the roofs, the trees, the ground, the lagoon. Within an hour, there is half an inch of white powder covering the entire atoll. John and Jane scoop some into his hand. It is warm. It feels strange, oily. He wipes it off. It sticks to his skin. He washes his hands in the lagoon. The powder floats on the surface of the water. By noon, people start feeling sick. Nausea, headaches, burning eyes. Children are vomiting. Some adults have diarrhea. John's daughter, Likoj, is 7 years old. She is crying. Her eyes are red and watering. Her skin is itching. John does not know what to do. He has no medicine, no radio, no way to contact the Americans. He tells everyone to stay inside, to wash off the powder, to drink clean water from the cisterns, not the lagoon. But the powder is everywhere. It is in their hair, their clothes, their houses. There is no escaping it. The Americans do not come that day, or the next day. John waits. He watches the horizon for ships. He sees nothing. On March 2nd, more people are sick. Lekoj's hair is falling out in clumps. Other children are developing burns on their skin where the powder touched them. Adults are weak. Some can barely stand. John himself feels nauseous. His throat is sore. He is terrified. He does not know what is happening. He does not know that his people have been exposed to lethal doses of radiation, that the white powder is radioactive fallout, that every grain contains strontium-90, cesium-137, iodine-131, that these isotopes are now inside their bodies, in their lungs, their stomachs, their bloodstreams, that the damage is already done. On March 3rd, 2 full days after the explosion, a U.S. Navy ship arrives. Marines come ashore wearing protective suits and masks. They carry Geiger counters. The counters are clicking so fast the sound is almost continuous. The Marines tell John and the others to gather their belongings. They are being evacuated. Immediately. No time to pack properly. No time to bring livestock. No time to say goodbye to their homes. They are loaded onto the ship. As they leave, John looks back at Rongelap. The white powder is still covering everything. It looks peaceful, like snow. But it is not snow. It is death. The evacuees are taken to Kwajalein Atoll, 150 miles south. They are examined by U.S. military doctors. The doctors are calm. They do not explain what happened. They take blood samples. They photograph the burns. They measure radiation levels on skin and clothing. They write everything down. John asks what is wrong with his people. The doctors say they were exposed to fallout from a test. They say it is being monitored. They say everyone will be fine. This is a lie. The doctors know the exposure levels. They know the radiation doses are severe. They know there will be long-term effects. But they say nothing. Instead, they classify the islanders as part of Project 4.1, a medical study to observe the effects of radiation exposure on human populations. The Rongelap Islanders are now research subjects, without their knowledge, without their consent. At the same moment, 100 miles east of Bikini Atoll, the Japanese fishing vessel Daigo Fukuryu Maru, also known as Lucky Dragon 5, is hauling in its nets. There are 23 men on board. They are tuna fishermen from Yaizu, Japan. The boat is small, wooden, 87 feet long. The crew is young. Most are in their 20s and 30s. The captain is 39. The chief radio operator is Aikichi Kuboyama. He is 40 years old. He is married. He has 2 daughters, ages 5 and 2. This is his last voyage before retirement. He plans to open a small shop in Yaizu. He is looking forward to spending time with his family. On March 1st, at 6:45 a.m., the crew of Lucky Dragon 5 sees the flash. They are 90 miles from the detonation, outside the designated danger zone. But they see the light. They see the mushroom cloud. They are astonished. Some take photographs. They continue fishing. They do not leave. They are not told to leave. No one warned them. At 10:30 a.m., white ash begins falling on the boat. It is thick. It covers the deck. It gets in their hair, on their skin, in their eyes. Some of the crew try to wipe it off. Others scoop it up with their hands to examine it. One man licks it to see if it has a taste. It does not. It is gritty and warm. The crew jokes about it. They call it snow. They do not know they are holding death in their hands. By the evening of March 1st, the crew is feeling sick. Nausea, headaches, burning skin. Aikichi Kuboyama feels the worst. His eyes are swollen. His face is red and blistering. He is vomiting. The captain decides to return to port immediately. They are 5 days away. During those 5 days, the crew's condition worsens. Hair starts falling out. Burns appear on exposed skin. Blood appears in their urine. Some develop bleeding gums. They are suffering from acute radiation syndrome. They do not know this. They think it is food poisoning or a flu. They drink water. They rest. It does not help. On March 14, 1954, Lucky Dragon 5 arrives in Yaizu. The crew is hospitalized immediately. A doctor named Yoshio Shiokawa examines them. He is confused by the symptoms. He tests their blood. White blood cell counts are dangerously low. He tests their clothing with a Geiger counter. It is radioactive. The boat itself is radioactive. Radiation can be detected 100 feet away. Shiokawa realizes what happened. The crew was exposed to nuclear fallout. He reports this to the Japanese government. The government reports it to the United States. The news becomes international. Japan is outraged. This is the 3rd time Japanese people have been victims of American nuclear weapons. Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Now this. The crew of Lucky Dragon 5 is treated for radiation sickness. The treatment is primitive. Blood transfusions, antibiotics for infections, pain medication. There is no cure for radiation poisoning. The body must heal itself, if it can. Most of the crew improves slowly over the next few months, but Aikichi Kuboyama does not. His condition deteriorates. By August, he develops meningitis. His brain swells. He becomes delirious. He is violent. He has to be tied to his bed. By September, he falls into a coma. He develops pneumonia. On September 23, 1954, Aikichi Kuboyama dies. He is 40 years old. He never opened his shop. He never retired. His daughters are now 6 and 3. They will grow up without their father. The official cause of death is listed as hepatitis and liver cirrhosis. But everyone knows the truth. He died from radiation poisoning. He is the first confirmed victim of a hydrogen bomb. The remaining 22 crew members are released from the hospital in May 1955. They have been hospitalized for 14 months. They are alive, but they are not healthy. They suffer from chronic illnesses, liver damage, immune system problems. Many develop cancer later in life. Several die young. The Japanese government demands compensation. After negotiations, the United States agrees to pay $2 million, not to the fishermen. to the Japanese government. The fishermen receive a small portion. It is not enough. It is never enough. Back on Kwajalein, the people of Rongelap are still waiting. John Anjan and his daughter Lekoj are among them. Lekoj's hair has not grown back. She has scars on her skin from burns. She is weak. She cries often. John is told she will recover, but he does not believe it. He sees the other children. Many are sick. Some are sicker than Lekoj. The doctors continue to examine everyone. Blood tests, X-rays, photographs. They write reports. They do not share the results with John. He asks when they can go home. The doctors say it is not safe yet. The radiation levels are too high. John asks how long. The doctors do not give a clear answer. Maybe a year, maybe longer. 3 years pass. In 1957, the U.S. government declares Rongelap safe for habitation. The islanders are allowed to return. John is skeptical. He asks if the radiation is gone. He is told it is at acceptable levels. He does not know what that means, but he has no choice. They return to Rongelap. The atoll looks the same. The white powder is gone. The trees have grown back. The lagoon is clear. It looks normal. But it is not normal. The soil is contaminated. The fish are contaminated. The coconuts are contaminated. The water is contaminated. The radiation is invisible. But it is there. Over the next 30 years, the evidence mounts. Lekoj Anjan develops thyroid cancer at age 19. She undergoes surgery. Her thyroid is removed. She survives. But she must take medication for the rest of her life. Other children develop thyroid problems, thyroid nodules, thyroid tumors. By 1980, nearly 70% of the children who were under 10 years old in 1954 have developed thyroid abnormalities. Women suffer miscarriages at abnormally high rates. Stillbirths increase. Some babies are born with severe defects, deformities, missing limbs, enlarged heads. The people of Rongelap call these jellyfish babies. They do not survive. John Anjan watches his community suffer. He watches his daughter suffer. He becomes angry. He demands answers from the U.S. government. He demands relocation. He demands compensation. The U.S. government offers studies, more medical examinations, more blood tests, more reports, but no action, no evacuation, no compensation. In 1985, John makes a decision. He contacts Greenpeace. He asks for help. Greenpeace agrees. The Rainbow Warrior makes 3 trips to Rongelap. They evacuate the entire population, 300 people. They move them to Mahado Island, 180 kilometers away. The U.S. government does not help. Greenpeace does it alone. In 1996, the United States offers a compensation package, $45 million for the people of Rongelap. But there is a condition. The islanders must clean up the contamination themselves. They must scrape off the topsoil by hand, remove the contaminated earth. The U.S. government will not do it. The islanders must. Many refuse. Some accept. The cleanup is incomplete. To this day, parts of Rongelap remain uninhabitable. John Anjan dies in 2004. He is 85 years old. He never forgave the United States. He never received a personal apology. Lekoj Anjan is still alive. She is 77 years old. She still takes thyroid medication every day. She still has scars from 1954. She still remembers the white powder falling like snow. October 12th, 1983. San Jose, California. Arthur Rudolph sits in his living room. He is 76 years old. He retired from NASA in 1969 after the success of Apollo 11. He has been living comfortably on his government pension. He has a house, a car, a garden. He tends roses. He plays with his grandchildren. He watches television. He has not thought about Middle Bowdora in decades. He does not talk about the war. When people ask what he did during the war, he says he was an engineer. Nothing more. Most people do not ask. They know him as the man who helped America reach the moon, the program manager of the Saturn V rocket, the man with the NASA Distinguished Service Medal. That is who he is. That is who he wants to be. But today, 2 men are at his door. They are from the Office of Special Investigations, a unit within the U.S. Department of Justice. They investigate Nazi war criminals living in America. They have been investigating Arthur Rudolph for 2 years. They have reviewed archives. They have interviewed survivors of Mittelbau-Dora. They have documents, memos written by Rudolph requesting slave labor, testimony placing him at hangings, records showing his oversight of production where 20,000 people died. The men explain this to Rudolph. They tell him he faces deportation proceedings, a public trial, possible extradition to Germany, or Poland, or Israel. They offer him an alternative. Renounce your U.S. citizenship voluntarily, leave the country, never return. In exchange, we will not prosecute. We will not cancel your pension. Rudolph listens. He is terrified. He does not want a trial. He does not want the publicity. He does not want his grandchildren to know. He agrees. On March 3, 1984, Arthur Rudolph renounces his U.S. citizenship at the American consulate in Munich, Germany. He is 77 years old. The ceremony takes 10 minutes. He signs a form. He surrenders his passport. He is no longer an American citizen. He is no longer allowed to enter the United States. He settles in Hamburg, Germany. He lives quietly. Some German veterans groups support him. They say he was unjustly persecuted, that the Americans used him and then discarded him, that his contribution to space exploration should outweigh his wartime role. Rudolph agrees with them. He maintains that he did nothing wrong, that he was following orders, that he had no authority over the treatment of prisoners, that he was simply an engineer. He gives interviews saying this. He writes letters saying this. He believes it, or he has convinced himself he believes it. In 1985, the Hamburg chief public prosecutor opens an investigation into Rudolph for aiding and abetting murder. The investigation reviews his statements from 1947, when he was interrogated as a witness in the Dora trials. The statements are damning. Rudolph admitted he was present during hangings. He admitted he requested additional slave labor. He admitted he knew prisoners were dying. The prosecutor prepares charges. But in 1987, the investigation is quietly closed. Insufficient evidence, they say. Too much time has passed. Witnesses are dead. Documents are incomplete. Rudolph is never charged. He is never tried. He lives freely in Hamburg until December 28, 1995, when he dies at age 89. He dies in his sleep. He is buried in Germany. His obituary in German newspapers describes him as a rocket engineer and NASA hero who was unjustly accused. There is no mention of the 20,000 dead at Mittelbau-Dora. There is no apology. There is no justice. Wernher von Braun does not face the same reckoning. He dies on June 16, 1977, in Alexandria, Virginia. He is 65 years old. The cause of death is pancreatic cancer. His obituary in the New York Times is glowing. It describes him as the father of the American space program, as the man who sent astronauts to the moon, as a visionary, a genius, a hero. The obituary is 200 words long. It mentions his Nazi Party membership in one sentence. It mentions his SS rank in one sentence. It says he joined reluctantly, under pressure, for professional reasons. It does not mention Mittelbau-Dora. It does not mention the slave labor. It does not mention the 20,000 dead. The obituary ends with tributes from NASA administrators, astronauts, and politicians. All of them praise von Braun. All of them call him a great American. None of them mention his victims. Von Braun is buried with full honors. President Jimmy Carter sends a message of condolence. It reads, "To millions of Americans, Wernher von Braun's name was inextricably linked to our exploration of space and to the creative application of technology. He was not only a skillful engineer but also a man of bold vision. His inspirational leadership helped mobilize and maintain the effort we needed to reach the moon and beyond. Not just the people of our nation, but all the people of the world have profited from his work. We will continue to profit from his example." There is no mention of Josef Chaganik, or the 20,000 others who died building his rockets. There is no mention of the price of his vision. At the same time, in Terre Haute, Indiana, Betty Coe is still alive. She is 58 years old. Donald has been dead for 20 years. Michael is 29. Susan is 27. Betty has worked 2 jobs for most of those 20 years. She has never remarried. She tried to move on. She could not. The anger stayed. In 1979, she reads an article in the newspaper. It is about atomic veterans, about how many are dying from cancer, about how the government is denying responsibility, about how the Veterans Administration refuses to pay benefits. Betty recognizes the story. It is Donald's story. She is not alone. There are thousands of Donalds, thousands of Bettys. She starts attending meetings of atomic veterans groups. She hears their stories. They are all the same. Radiation exposure, cancer, denial, death. The government says there is no proof. The government says the doses were safe. The government says the cancers are coincidental. The veterans say the government is lying. Betty agrees. In 1988, Congress passes the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act. It acknowledges that some nuclear test veterans were harmed. It provides compensation. Betty applies. She submits Donald's discharge papers, his death certificate, medical records, affidavits from other bikini veterans. She waits. In 1989, her application is approved. She receives a check for $50,000. It arrives on April 18, 1989. Betty stares at it. $50,000. For Donald's life. For 11 years of suffering. For raising 2 children alone. It feels obscene. But she cashes it. She uses it to pay off the mortgage. To pay off medical bills from Susan's surgery 2 years ago. To put money in savings for emergencies. She does not spend a dollar on herself. On July 22, 1989, Betty Coe dies. A heart attack. She is 64 years old. She never enjoyed the money. She never took a vacation. She never stopped working. She died angry. She died exhausted. She died without ever hearing an apology from the people who killed her husband. Michael Coe is now 41 years old. It is 1989. He is living in Terre Haute. He works at the same hardware store his father and grandfather worked at. He has a wife and 2 children. He has been healthy most of his life. But in 1988, he is diagnosed with thyroid cancer. The doctors remove his thyroid. He survives. He is told he will need to take synthetic hormone medication for the rest of his life. He asks the doctors what caused the cancer. They say it could be many things. Genetics, environment, random chance. Michael mentions his father, mentions Bikini Atoll, mentions radiation. The doctors say it is possible. Studies have shown that children of radiation-exposed veterans have higher rates of certain cancers. Thyroid cancer is one of them. Michael contacts the VA. He applies for benefits under the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act. His application is denied. The law covers veterans. It covers widows. It does not cover children. Michael appeals. The appeal is denied. There is no provision for second-generation victims. Michael hires a lawyer. The lawyer says there is nothing to be done. The law is clear. Michael gives up. He takes his medication. He goes to work. He raises his children. He does not talk about his father much. What is there to say? His father was killed by his own government, and the government will not admit it. In 2023, Michael Coe is 75 years old. He has had thyroid cancer 3 times. Each time the VA denies his claim. Each time he appeals. Each time he is rejected. In August 2023, the VA releases statistics. Since the PACT Act expanded benefits to atomic veterans in 2022, the VA has processed 4,100 radiation-related claims. They approved 570. They denied 3,500. That is an 86% denial rate. The VA says most denials are because veterans cannot prove their radiation exposure. The equipment that measured doses in the 1940s and 1950s was unreliable. Many records were lost. Many were never kept. The VA says without proof, they cannot approve claims. The burden of proof is on the veteran. Michael reads this. He is not surprised. He stopped being surprised decades ago. He is just tired. In Rongelap, Lekoj Anjine is 76 years old. It is 2023. She has lived in exile for 38 years. The U.S. government declared Rongelap safe in 1987. Some families returned. Lekoj did not. She does not trust the government. She lives on Mojado Island. She takes thyroid medication every day. She has scars on her arms and neck from the burns she received in 1954. Her hair grew back, but it is thin and white. She has children and grandchildren. Some of them have health problems, thyroid issues, immune system disorders. She believes it is connected to the radiation. The doctors say maybe, maybe not. There is no way to prove it. Lekoj does not need proof. She knows. In 2023, the Marshall Islands file a lawsuit against the United States. They demand additional compensation. They demand cleanup. They demand medical care for affected populations. The lawsuit is dismissed. The U.S. government cites a 1986 agreement that provided $150 million in compensation. The agreement included a clause. The Marshall Islands agreed not to pursue further claims. The court says the case is closed. Lekoj hears about this. She is not surprised. She stopped being surprised in 1954, when the white powder fell like snow, when her hair fell out, when her father cried, when the Americans said everything was safe. She learned then. The government lies. The government forgets. The victims remember. On a shelf in John and Jane's old house, there is a photograph. It was taken in March 1954, 3 days after the Castle Bravo test. It shows a group of children standing on the beach at Rongelap. They are smiling. They are covered in white powder. They do not know what it is. They think it is snow. One of the children is Lekoj. She is 7 years old. She is holding a handful of powder. She is about to taste it. The photograph was taken by an American serviceman. He was documenting the fallout. He did not stop the children. He did not warn them. He took the photograph and left. The photograph was classified for 30 years. When it was finally released, Lekoj saw it. She recognized herself. She remembers that day. She remembers the taste, gritty, warm, metallic. She remembers thinking it was strange. She did not know it was death. Now she does. The photograph hangs in her house. She looks at it every day. It reminds her of what was taken, of what was lost, of what they did to her. She has never received an apology. She does not expect one. But she remembers, and she will not forgive. The final question remains. Was it worth it? The Cold War was won. The Soviet Union collapsed. America became the dominant superpower. The space program succeeded. Men walked on the moon. Technology advanced. Missiles were perfected. Satellites were launched. Nuclear weapons were refined. All of this required knowledge. Knowledge brought by German scientists. Knowledge built on slave labor. Knowledge paid for with lives. The lives of prisoners at Middle-Bawdora. The lives of American servicemen at Bikini Atoll. The lives of islanders at Rongelap. The lives of fishermen on Lucky Dragon 5. Was it worth those lives? The people who made the decisions believed it was. They believed the Cold War justified any cost. They believed defeating communism required compromises, moral compromises. They believed the ends justified the means. History does not answer this question. History only records the cost. 20,000 dead at Middle-Bawdora, thousands of atomic veterans dead from radiation-induced cancers, hundreds of Marshall Islanders dead or permanently damaged, 23 Japanese fishermen poisoned, 1 dead, Werner von Braun, celebrated and buried with honors, Arthur Rudolph, never prosecuted, Betty Coe, dead without an apology, Michael Coe, denied benefits, Lekoj Anjane, scarred and exiled. The cost is clear. Whether it was worth it depends on who you ask. The victors say yes, the victims say no, and the victims are still here, still waiting, still remembering.